some days we are so busy caring for other people, our families, our children, our aging parents, that we hardly have a moment to think about ourselves, but this can be a surefire way to lead to burnout. So today I'm here with Michele Tamaren, who is a spiritual mentor, and she lectures widely on topics about spirituality and end-of-life care and healing and happiness, all amazing topics for sure. And we are going to have a conversation about tips and tools on how we could care for ourselves when we're caring for others. So thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
This is a relevant topic, especially as baby boomers are getting older and more of us are having to care for that generation.
Yes.
So how do we navigate this?
First of all, to be aware and to acknowledge that caregiving is challenging. Mm-hmm. It's demanding. It can be exhausting physically and emotionally. First, to recognize that rather than beating ourselves up because we're sometimes feeling our own despair, mm-hmm. and then tending to ourselves. Realizing that nurturing, renewing, refreshing ourselves is paramount so that we can maintain that energy to support our loved ones. And to do that by thinking about what is it that brings us a sense of joy and refreshment. Sometimes we really aren't able to physically remove ourselves for very long. So it may be just a few moments of breathing consciously. Mm-hmm. It may be going out in nature for a little bit and renewing ourselves. And it may be as simple as listening to favorite music or reading a poem that brings us joy in the moment.
And those are great tips, because I know, like, when I've been in the hospital with my dad, you can't always leave for long times, but even taking that lunch break or sitting in a waiting room for a few minutes and closing your eyes can make all the difference in the world.
It can, and if you can take a lunch break and go outside mm-hmm. and breathe,
right.
You've got the nature and also you're nurturing yourself and your body.
So I've noticed that I've really learned a lot about myself as I've been helping my parents go through their own process of getting older. So, and you take that point of view, what can you learn as you kind of navigate your way through caregiving?
When I was caregiving for my parents, and this is also shared in the book, I brought in pictures. I brought in old family pictures for them to look at, to help them remember what brought them delight. And then they start sharing their family stories. And then they began to do what's so important at the end of life, which is a life review. So it was done in a pleasant, gentle fashion. I got to learn more about their early childhoods. I heard the precious stories that I may have heard when I was young, but dismissed at that time. Now, they became so deeply meaningful. I just wanted to hear more.
And that must have lit them up, too, to share that kind of experience with you.
It did. It absolutely delighted them. And we would listen to music from their youth. And they would smile and laugh and remember more and share even more. So I got to learn more about my past through them, and they spoke of their parents. So I learned about the generations that preceded me.
That's beautiful. It can be challenging to watch our parents get older and more vulnerable, and it can bring up some of our own emotional issues and worries and fears. So how do we deal with the emotions that come up in this process?
We cried together.
Right.
And we remembered together. And then we started to remember, in time, the good times. But being very patient and understanding, truly, grief is a part of the process, and to acknowledge it rather than suppress it.
Right. Well, these are all amazing tips and tools in what can be a tough situation, and you can tell you really bring some compassion to the whole process. And I know you do that with clients and family, so thank you for being in service that way and sharing your tips with all our viewers.
Thank you.
Michele's book, Extraordinary, An End-of-Life Story Without N, can be found on Amazon and also on her website, micheletamaren.com. And next time we're going to be talking to Michele about how to make some peace, both with ourselves and with our loved ones before we pass on. That's a big topic, so I hope you can join us then.